like I said, as fun as it can be with Bilal Muhammad on the main card, because a lot of people do think he's boring. I don't think he's boring. He is kind of like a born again Dagestani now that he's training with, Khabib and Islam and that team, and you could tell like he's improved a lot. Since that first Leon Edwards fight where Edwards kind of was destroying him, and then there's an eye poke and no contest, I believe it was. Like I don't think anybody won that fight, but I mean it was trending towards Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards was smashing on him. Like Bilal wasn't able to take him down, wasn't able to do much, had nothing for him on the feet. But ever since, like I said, he's kind of like, like I don't know, he's had kind of like a reincarnation or something, now that he's been in the Dagestani camp and getting his ass beat by Khabib. So he says, so that just shows that, he has leveled up in every way. And his last fight against Edwards to win the belt, he pretty much dominated Edwards. I want to say almost all 5 rounds. I have to go back and watch it again. I mean, I did watch it live, but it was pretty much all Bilal. Edwards didn't have an answer until late. He started doing some things here and there, but he just didn't have it. It was almost like he just gave up on that fight once he kept getting taken down over and over again. So that shows that Bilal has definitely stepped up his wrestling game and his tactics and fighting a little smarter. I mean, like I said, it's not always the most exciting fights. He does a lot of decisions, don't get a lot of finishes, but still he's definitely stepped up his game. And I don't know if like look at his fights since then. He's been on a streak. Even before that Leon Edwards fight, he was on a bit of a streak. But now after Edwards, he beat Damian Maia. And of course, he didn't finish Maia. Most people don't finish Maia. You know what I'm saying? Like he sits there. I mean, it's always a grappling match. He's tough as hell. Veteran, MMA vet, UFC OG. So I mean, yeah, he got the decision against Damian Maia. Then Thompson, then he beat Wonderboy Thompson. So I mean, he was able to ragdoll Thompson and put a kind of a blueprint to beat Thompson. Even though Wonderboy obviously is a karate guy, still a kickboxer, still he always had some pretty decent takedown defense until, Muhammad kind of put the blueprint on how to beat him, and now he's been on a kind of a losing streak. Then they had the rematch with Luque. He got that win. That was after I think he was avenging a loss or in their first fight. Let me go back and see for sure on that one. I know they fought before. Yeah, Luque did beat him. Yeah, that's right. And so he avenged that loss, got Luque. But like I'm saying, this hasn't been the same Luque ever since. I can't remember what fight it was. He was in a banger, and then he just took a lot of damage. But then we got Sean Brady. That was a fight that kind of really impressed me, is when Bilal beat Sean Brady. Finished him in the second round by a TKO KO, but that was like he was really putting it on him. That's when he kind of unleashed his hands a lot and the pressure. Like Brady is known for his wrestling, and he was not able to have any success against Bilal. Wasn't able to take him down, and I think that might have been the first camp actually that he was with the Dagestani team over there with Khabib and them, and like he was not able to take him down, and Bilal was able to just kind of put it on him with his jab and just relentless type pressure, kind of like the Khabib style pressure, but just more just jabs and on the feet, and he was able to finish Brady, which was kind of crazy because Brady was on a run. I don't know, he had won like 6 straight, I think, at that time or something like that. And then now Bilal's been on his own run, and since then, and that was the most impressive fight for Bilal, I thought. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, it shows that, for him able to, because the way Brady had been running through everyone, then Bilal came in and kind of just ran through him, Then we had the Gilbert Burns fight. Gilbert Burns always puts on a show. He's always tough as hell. It's always a tough fight with Gilbert Burns, and I believe he did get injured like first or second round. So basically, this was a one-armed Gilbert Burns, which just shows how tough he is. But also, I think Bilal got a lot of criticism for this fight because he didn't finish a one-arm Gilbert Burns. Like he should have been able to finish him, but same time, Burns is tough. I mean, he's always in a firefight. He's always down to, push himself. He's not going to quit on himself, and that one went 5 rounds, and I think a lot of people thought Bilal played it a little safe there, but he dominated the fight. He did win the fight, and it's still an impressive win to put on your resume. Anytime you beat Gilbert Burns, that's definitely something huge, so yeah, but that was, Leon Edwards, that's when he won the belt, so he took the title, and no immediate rematch for Edwards on that one, that's for sure. So that'll bring us to Shavkat, who I thought he was ranked number 2. Oh yeah, he is ranked number 2 here. And this guy's 18-0. He hasn't had all his fights in the UFC. He hasn't fought very often either. That's the one thing about Shavkat. Like, he hasn't really, like, there's still a little bit of unknown there. Like, yes, he's a beast. Yes, he's undefeated, all finishes, but he's fought with, like, not Charles Oliveira, the other Oliveira, Cowboy Oliveira. Yeah, he beat him, right? So all finishes, first round finish there. Braceras finish, Harris, another first round finishes, and he is dominating guys. Magny. Magny is the type of guy who could be the best, one of the most elite fighters one day, and then the next day just look like he don't even belong in the UFC. So I mean, he's kind of hit and miss sometimes. Definitely a lot of experience, but you never know what you're gonna get with Magny. Like, when he's the hammer, he's a smasher. And well, then I remember, yeah, Jeff Neal and Shavkat. That was a crazy fight. That was Jeff Neal. I think he could have tried to maybe have a different style or approach against Rakhmonov, but that was a crazy fight. I remember that one. That was good. What happened? I know he ended up getting the finish in that one, but it doesn't really say right here. Let me see. What was that? Oh, it's going right back to that. I'll have to edit that shit out of there. No, but yeah, Jeff Neal and and Shavkat, that was definitely a banger. And that was already, May of 2023. So, yeah, that was a long time ago. He doesn't fight very often. And that's kind of a knock on him, I think. Like, yes, everyone's been kind of touting him to be, like, the next champ, or, like, that type of fighter, dominant fighter, because he has nothing but finishes. But he isn't very active. We're talking, he fought June 25th against Magny, 2022. Didn't fight again until March 4th, 2023 against Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's always a game opponent. Like, that was, like I said, that was a barn burner fight. They were trading. They were going at it. I mean, it was both fighters got rocked in that fight until ultimately Rakhmonov got the finish. But, yeah, it was a crazy war of a fight. And then, Rakhmonov, I was actually at this fight. This was last year, December 16th. The last fight, that's the last time he's fought. It will be almost a year, basically, since his last fight by the time he fights again. That was against Wonderboy Thompson. Submitted him, I believe it was a rear naked choke in the second round. And that fight, I mean, it was kind of like Wonderboy was doing a decent job avoiding takedowns. Like, Rakhmonov didn't really stand with him too much. He kind of just went with the safe. I don't want to say like safe, like he was just trying to play it safe, but he just went with his least path of resistance, I guess, for victory, and was able to take out Wonderboy Thompson. But like I said, Wonderboy is getting up there in age. It was an impressive victory. He did what he should have, I guess, against aging Wonderboy, and on the ground dominated. A lot of people just don't finish Wonderboy like that on the ground either. So it's he's not that easy to finish, even if you get him down. So definitely a good win for Shavkat, but like I said, not very active. He's not going to fight again. It'll be almost a year since he's fought by the time he fights Bilal. And so it's kind of like still an unknown with Shavkat. Not like, obviously we know that he's been killing it. He's been winning all his fights and finishing them all. But I just don't see like it has been dominant, obviously, but I'm just saying it's still somewhat unproven. So as far as against the upper echelons of fighters. So, I mean, we're going to see. We're going to see coming real soon. We're going to see. So that's what that fight is going to be interesting for sure. But I'm favoring Bilal just because of what we've seen late. He has been active, and it's cool. And I like the fact that he is like down to fight whoever, basically. Like he don't care. Like he's like whoever it is, and he's fighting this guy, the boogeyman, because Shavkat's like the boogeyman of the welterweight division right now. Nobody wants to fight him, and he's stepping up to fight him. Like, he's like, I'll take that challenge. Let's go. And that's cool. That's cool to see. That'll bring us to Pantoja and Kai. Let's see. Start that again. yeah, so that'll bring us to the co-main: Alexandra Pantoja and Kai Asakura. Like I said, Asakura is a bit of an unknown, obviously, but let's look at Pantoja. What he's done. He's on a huge win streak right now. You know, he's won what? He beat Cap. He beat Roy Val the first time. Then he beat Perez. Then he beat Brandon Moreno to get the belt, I believe. And then had a rematch against Roy Val, which that was at the same fight as Wonder Boy and Shavkat last year, and that was a good fight. I mean, it was a good scrap, but the first fight they had was a better scrap. I felt like Pantoja played it a little safer in this matchup and was just grappling with him a lot. Got the decision. You know, he just basically was trying to kind of nullify Roy Val because that guy is, like he said, he's pretty crazy when it comes to his striking, a little unpredictable, a little, reckless out there, but it also leads to some crazy scrambles and stuff like that. So Pantoja played that a little safe, and then we got then he fought Steve Erceg, which everyone thought, a lot of people were saying they thought Erceg won that fight. You know, I'd have to go back and watch that one, to be honest. There's nothing memorable for me. I heard that Pantoja just basically laid on him or whatever, just did that. So that game again, played it safe. So like Pantoja hasn't been the most exciting champ. He is a game opponent, and he likes to stand and bang sometimes. You know, like against Brandon Moreno, he basically did that. But he also has some pretty good ground and pound and takedowns and jiu-jitsu type pressure. So I mean, he's probably going to bring that type of game to Kai Asakura. Like I said, if you haven't seen Kai Asakura fight, go do yourselves a favor. Go and look at his highlights in Ryzen, because I mean it's freaking amazing. He's fought some good guys too. He's fought some pretty guys that used to be in the UFC. You know, he fought Kyoji Hiraguchi. Wait, let me see real quick. Let me see if I can find Kai's. I don't know if he will be on this UFC. Yeah, they don't have his stuff on here, but he's fought. You know, Kai Hasekura, like he's a rising champion. He's fought, like I said, Kyoji Hiraguchi, who fought Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, for the belt, for the flyweight belt, and was doing okay in that fight. I mean, he was a little more. He was kind of like a flyweight Lyoto Machida, you know, like karate style, kind of bouncing around and very explosive and fast, twitch muscles and all that. And I believe like Mighty Mouse kind of played a little safe in that fight, used the takedowns, and then ended up submitting him, I think, the last minute of the round, like a last freaking second armbar type thing. Just, you know, got him out of there. Like he wasn't taking the chances up until that last minute. You know, fuck it, I'm gonna submit this guy real quick, and just got him out of there. But yeah, like Kyoji was definitely a very high level fighter, you know. Yeah. And also Kai Asakura also fought Juan Archuleta when they had the whole Bellator Ryzen fights, and he was able to defeat Juan Archuleta. Very impressive fight, because you know Archuleta is like kind of a heavy hitter, plodding forward. He's a wrestler, but he's definitely a banger. He likes to throw a lot of, you know, he likes to get into those firefights himself, and he was going for a takedown, and he was like trying to take him down. And one time he jumped guillotine, and this was really impressive by Kai. Like, it shows that he does have some grappling, you know, in his repertoire as well, in his arsenal, when he was able to kind of float over, you know, instead of like landing in Juan Archuleta's guard in a guillotine, he kind of floated his legs over and went straight to side control. It was really kind of slick and really smooth the way he did it, and ended up in top position in side control. And, you know, it was kind of stalled out right there. And then they got back to the feet and were just throwing bombs. You know, they went to the second round. Archuleta went for kind of like a jump knee, didn't land, and then basically kind of ducked his head like he was going to go for a takedown. And Kai Asakura just leveled him with a knee, you know, perfectly timed knee. Ended with some vicious ground and pound on the ground on top, and just finished him. And like you said, see these guys' highlights, unbelievable knockouts. Like, you know, like he comes in, you could tell he has a great chin. He's fought Manel Cap also 2 times in Ryzen, and they had some crazy wars, which one was a split decision for win for the first time they fought for Kai. And a lot of people thought Manal Cap kind of got robbed in that one, but that fight was a banger. Like I said, Manal Cap looked great back then. Like we need to see some of that explosiveness in the UFC a little more. But then in the rematch, they were just freaking going at it, throwing bombs. And Manal Cap actually did get his revenge and got the finish on Kai. He got a TKO, KO victory, I believe, second round, I believe. But that was a crazy freaking war, crazy ass firefight. But it just shows that he has fought some high level, fighters, even though he's coming from another organization. The one thing I could say that I don't know, because in Ryzen, it's kind of basically like the modern day Pride. They fight in a ring instead of a cage, a boxing ring type of thing. And they have like knees to grounded opponents. He has some finishes that way. They allow soccer kicks. So it's definitely going to be a rule of change adjustment to come to the UFC besides just fighting in a cage as opposed to the ring. So, because he's had, like I said, there's soccer kicks, like he's got a couple knockouts that way. He's got knockouts with some crazy knees, though. Sick ass knees. He has a lot of knockout, knee finishes. So this guy, like, very dangerous, very... like he said, he throws real fluid, like he's a skinnier, taller guy. So it could be that for Pantoja, might be Pantoja like a little Wolverine, little stocky type dude who does like to bang. But I think that he's going to have to try to do the wrestling and grappling aspect with Kai. But we'll see, because Kai seems to have very vicious ground and pound himself if he gets into that favorable position. And he seems like he stays safe when he's in a bad position as well. But there will be some adjustments there. Like he's going to have to hold back a little bit when he sees, if he does get Pantoja, where he could soccer kick him or throw a knee to the grounded opponent, there's going to be an adjustment there. He's going to have to like lay off his viciousness in those. And also in the grappling, it's hard to say if it's going to help him or hurt him to being in the cage instead. Because yes, it could. Maybe Pantoja could push him up against the cage and get a takedown that way, drag him down or something. But also, it might help him be able to use the cage to get up, put his back against the cage to get up out of those positions, which is not the same with the ropes. You can't really just grab up on the ropes. So, I mean, there's definitely some differences there that he'll have to adjust to. I'm sure he's going to be training in a cage for this fight, so he'll still have a couple months to make all those adjustments. But I'm not sure exactly yet who that's going to favor. Like, is it going to favor Kai? Maybe he could jump off the cage. Maybe we see something we haven't seen yet from him, because he is a pretty diverse and crazy, striker. Strikes from a lot of different angles with kicks and punches. So, maybe we'll see some Showtime stuff from him off the cage. I mean, who knows? That remains to be seen. But I'm excited for the fight, and I think it is deserved. They made a big deal out of it, because other than, I think it was like Dan Henderson getting immediate title shot against Rampage out of Pride when UFC bought Pride. I mean, this guy, the flyweight division is not very stacked. It's already kind of Pantoja. I mean, there's only a few guys at the top that are names. Brandon Moreno, Kai Kara France, he's right there as well. Tyra, who just fought against Brandon Royval, who got the win, but Pantoja already beat Royval 2 times. So it's like, he's definitely not going to get that fight. I mean, Steve Seglas, Manel Cap, Tim Elliott. I mean, we're talking guys that have been around forever. Cody Durden, who I mentioned earlier, Matt Schnell, who just lost, I believe. So there's a lot of, it's not the most stacked division. So I think it does make sense. Maybe the UFC wants Pantoja out of there because he's had a couple grappling heavy performances on big cards. Maybe they're just like, let's give this guy, and also just to basically bring in that Asian market even more. I mean, that's a lot of eyeballs to the UFC. That, I mean, they're huge fight fans over there, and right out of the Ryzen and ONE FC guys, it's huge over there. So it's another market you could tap into. And this guy, like I said, Kai Asakura is definitely a marketable type of fighter, because he's definitely going to bring some chaos in there, and I'm looking forward to it.